While I was considering the Asher Roth issue last week and the larger, much more interesting issues that surround it, I went and spoke to my friend Dan Charnas, who is a longtime hip-hop veteran. He was one of the first writers in the early days of the Source magazine, even before I started working there. He also worked closely with Rick Rubin, running the rap department for Deaf American Records, which means, among other things, he was the man that gave a record deal to Chino XL, and basically he has a lot of experience being a white guy in hip-hop. So I went to get his opinion about the whole Asher Roth thing, and this is a little bit of our conversation.
I mean, first of all, if you're gonna be funny and make a joke, be funny. It just wasn't funny. And I think, to me, it smacks of entitlement. Like, I really feel if you lack a certain amount of what I would call racial humility, then you are bound to, for whatever your own narcissism is, you're bound to feel entitled to do certain things. And, you know, I have to be very careful who I'm jokey with, because I don't have it like that with everyone. And Asher Roth certainly doesn't have it like that with the public. And he certainly doesn't have it like that with Black America. So, you know, he ran that risk of being jokey with people who don't know him.
So about the other thing that came out since the Twitter thing of him specifically critiquing black rappers for their materialism, and why are these black rappers wearing gold chains when there's so much starvation in Africa? Like, did you see the particular quote that's out today?
And that's just him buying his own hype. I can't imagine Eminem saying anything like that. I can't imagine the Beasties saying anything like that.
But why wouldn't they?
Because I don't think they see themselves as separate. I don't think that the Beasties really ever saw themselves as separate from that. I mean, they know they're white. Mm-hmm. Not stupid. Search definitely has the most, I think, racial consciousness of all of them. But Search never took it upon himself to separate himself from hip-hop he didn't like by race. How are you gonna say black rappers are materialistic? I mean, there's lots of different hip-hoppers, and they're not all Lil Wayne, and it's not all Rick Ross, and it's not all that. I mean, it shows a little bit of naivete, white privilege, and entitlement all rolled into one.
But do you think, I mean, I've seen a lot of people say, he's got a point, there is too much materialism, so why should we care that it's a white guy saying it?
But is it black materialism? It's capitalist materialism. It's just hip-hop becoming successful. And as any genre of music becomes successful, it becomes debased because it buys into the general tenor of the culture, right? And the general tenor of American culture is what has led us to this financial meltdown right now. It's complete narcissism, complete materialism, complete denial. How are you gonna blame black people for that? They're just in this same soup as we all are, you know?
But can you just talk a little bit more about, because I think people are going to bristle at the idea of racial humility. Can you talk about why you personally feel like it's necessary as a white person to have racial humility?
Who would bristle?
I think the concept of racial humility and even of privilege itself, I think, is still alien to a lot of people. And especially now that people feel like we've made the progress that we've made. Now that we're in post-racial Obama America, is it still necessary?
Post-racial Obama America? Are we there yet?
I mean, clear, we must be, right? I mean, do white people still need to be burdened with worrying about things like entitlement and privilege now?
Yes.
Like, does it?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Like, what's the difference?
That difference will be negotiated over a period of centuries, not over a period of months after Obama is elected. And hip-hop was born of racial consciousness. You can't divide hip-hop from the social and political circumstances from which it came, right? There may be new occupants in this house called hip-hop. Most of the people who built this house of hip-hop would say everybody is welcome in this house. But the people who built it were people of color. They were black, they were Latino, some white. But, you know, you go into somebody's house, you're gonna wanna respect it. And if you don't respect it, then you're gonna pay the price for it. If you don't have that humility, you won't have the foundation that provides. The Beastie Boys had a bit of that foundation. I think Search had that foundation. I think Eminem has that foundation too. So I don't know what to do with poor Asher Roth. I mean, ultimately it's going to be his music that causes him to succeed or fail.
Right.
And all this other political rhetoric will fall by the wayside. If he's real, he'll be lasting. And if he's not, he won't last for very long.